guys, here's your guys' week 15 assessment review number 3, pretty much. So first we have some long division, okay? So you guys grab this, put this in the, this is the dividend, so put this in the house, and this is the divisor, put that on the outside. Now you have to think of what times n will be n squared, and that's n. So write an n here. Then distribute n times n squared, n times 5, 5n. Then you guys are going to subtract this from the top. So n squared minus n squared, nothing. 10n minus 5n is 5n. Drop down the 18. Now you repeat the same process. What times n is 5n? That's 5. So put a plus 5 up here. Then distribute this 5 to both of these. 5 times n, 5n, 5 times 5, 25, subtract both of them from the top. 0, 18, minus 25, negative 7. Since this is a remainder, you're going to put the remainder over the divisor, which was n plus 5. So n plus 5, right? N plus 5 minus, because that's a minus sign, 7 over the divisor, which is n plus 5. This one, again, this is the dividend, you guys. Put that in the house. This is the divisor. Put that on the outside. What times x is x to the third? That's x squared. So put x squared right here. X squared times x, x to the third. X squared times negative 4, negative 4x squared. You're going to subtract this from the top. So x to the third minus x to the third, nothing. Okay, be careful, right? 5 minus negative 4, which is 5 plus 4, because a negative times a negative is a positive. So 5 plus 4, you guys, is 9x squared. Drop the negative 32x, and it's the same process. X times what is 9x squared? That's 9x, so write a 9x. Distribute this 9x to both of these, so 9x times x, 9x squared. 9x times negative 4, negative 36x. Subtract both of these from the top. 0, negative 32 minus negative 36 is a positive 36, so negative 32 plus 36 is positive 4x. Drop the negative 7. What times x is 4x? That's 4, so write a 4 here, 4, and then distribute. 4 times x, 4x, 4 times negative 4, negative 16. Subtract, so 4x minus 4x is 0. Negative 7 minus negative 16, you guys. A negative times a negative 16 is positive 16, so negative 7 plus 16, 9. That's a remainder, so 9 over the divisor, x minus 4, and all of this comes from the top. So there's long division. Synthetic division, so remember you guys, if you have a polynomial divided by a first degree binomial, you take the opposite of this number, which is 2, and then write down all the coefficients. Make sure all the exponents are here. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, they're all there. So coefficient of this one's 1, negative 8, 10, 2, 4. Drop the first one down. 1 times 2 is 2. You add negative 6. Negative 6 times 2, negative 12. You add negative 2. Negative 2 times 2, negative 4. You add negative 2. Negative 2 times 2, negative 4. Add, you get 0. So this problem's asking, just dividing the polynomial. So your guys' new polynomial. Now remember, anytime you guys do synthetic division, right? This degree is always 1 less than the highest one you have. So 1 less than 4 is 3, then 2, degree of 1, then degree of 0. So y to the third minus 6y squared minus 2y minus 2 is your answer. That polynomial divided by that one. Now, for this one up top, notice a third power and a second power are missing. So we need to put placeholders and put coefficients of 0 for v to the third and v squared. So opposite of this, negative 4, 8, coefficients 32, 0, 0, 5, 20. Drop it down. 8 times negative 4, negative 32, add 0. 0 times negative 4, 0, add 0. 0 times negative 4, 0, add 0. 0 times negative 4, 0, add 5. 5 times negative 4, negative 20, add 0. And remember, anytime you guys do synthetic division, it's 1 degree less than this, right? So that's 5. This is going to be v to the fourth, third, second, first, 0. Now, all of these 0, you guys, those don't matter for when you guys get your answer. So you can just exclude all of those. So it's just 8v to the fourth plus 5. Okay, so here you guys are using factor theorem. State if the given binomial is a factor. Remember, if the remainder is 0, then the binomial is a factor. So if you guys do this and you do the synthetic division and you get a remainder of 0, that means the initial binomial you used was a factor. So make sure all the degrees are here, which they are. Opposite of 8, -8. Coefficients 1, 9, 14, 15, 9. Drop down the 1. 1 times -8, -8. Add 1. 1 times -8, -8. Add 6. 6 times -8, -48. Add 2. 2 times -8, -16. Add -7. So this did not give us a remainder of 0, which means n plus 8 is not a factor. It's only a factor if the remainder is 0. Here, make sure all the coefficients are there, which they are. Opposite of -7, 7. Coefficients 1, -8, -1, 62, -64. Drop it down. 1 times 7, 7. Add -1. -1 times 7, -7. Add -8. -8 times 7, -56. Add 6. 6 times 7, 42. Add 8. Again, this did not give you guys a remainder of 0, which means b minus 7 is not a factor. If it was 0, then this would have been a factor. Okay, here you guys are just finding your guys' remainder by just dividing this polynomial and getting the remainder. So you can either plug in 3 into all this to get the remainder, or you guys can just use synthetic division. So opposite of this, 3. Write down the coefficients here, 2, 3, -17, -30. Drop down the 2, 2 times 3, 6, add 9, 9 times 3, 27, add 10, 10 times 3, 30, add 0. So this remainder, you guys, for this polynomial was 0. Which also means, again, if you guys get a remainder of 0, then that means this would have been a factor. How about this one? Opposite of 2 is -2. Write down the coefficients. 2 times -2, -4, add -1, -1 times -2, -1 times -2, 2, add -15, -15 times -2, 30, add, you get 0. So you get a remainder of 0, and just a side note, because you get a remainder of 0, that means this would have been a factor for this one as well. Okay, so this is the beginning of rational root theorem. So you guys find your possible zeros. To find your possible zeros, it's your P over Q list. So P is the factors of the last one. So 1 times 25, 5 times 5, plus and minus, right? Q is the factors of your leading. 1 times 4, 2 times 2. So put all your factors of P up top, 1, 5, 25. All your factors of Q on the bottom, 1, 2, 4. And then to find all these numbers, you could divide all of these numbers, you guys, by all the ones at the bottom. 1, 5, 25, all divided by 1, 1, 5, 25. 1 divided by 2, 1 half. 5 divided by 2, 5 halves. 25 divided by 2, 25 halves. And then 1 divided by 4, 1 fourth. 5 divided by 4, 5 fourths. 25 divided by 4, 25 fourths. And all these are plus and minus. Over here, possible rational zeros. This is P. I should have actually wrote that down. That's Q. Factors of P, 1, 8, 2, 4. Factors of Q, 1, 5. So write down all the factors of P. So 1, 2, 4, and 8, all plus and minus. And all plus and minus 1, plus and minus 5 for the Q. And then divide all the top from the bottom. 1, 2, 4, 8, all divided by 1 is 1, 2, 4, 8. And then all these divided by 5, you guys, is 1/5, 2/5, 4/5, and 8/5. And these are all your guys' possible rational zeros. And then lastly, this is you guys finding your possible zeros and your guys' rational zeros. So you guys do your P over Q, so factors of P, 1 and 3. Factors of Q is 1 and 3. So factors of P is just 1 and 3, and the same thing for Q. Now, 1 and 3 divided by 1 is 1 and 3. 1 divided by 3 is new, which is 1/3. 3 divided by 3 is not new, you guys, because that's 1. So we're not going to put that in the list because that's already in here. So we have 6 possible answers for this to solve for this. There's 6. 1, 3, 1/3, and -1, -3, and -1/3. So what you guys have to try to do is you have to guess and check. You have to see which one of these zeros is an actual 0 for our polynomial. And you know that if your remainder is 0, because if your remainder is 0, that lets you know that the binomial is a factor, and this 0 is one of our answers. So with guess and check, it's just trial and error, right? So if you tried 1 with these coefficients, obviously it's not going to give you a remainder of 0. So I know that 1's not an answer. But then I tried -1, you guys, and when you try -1, then you find out that your answer is a remainder of 0, which means this is an answer, and x plus 1 is one of our factors. So since we know it hits, then all these degree are 1 less, so x to the third is the highest, so this is x squared, x, and nothing. And then we have this, you guys, which is an opportunity for you guys to factor by grouping. 3 times -3 is -9, bottom is 8. The two numbers I multiply at top, and when I give you bottom is 9 and -1. So 3x squared, 9x, -1x, minus 3, group, factor out of 3x, factor out of -1, 3x minus 1, x plus 3. Solve for our 0, so -3. -3 plus 3 would have given us 0, so that's -3. Set this equals to 0 unless you really know your fractions. Add 1, divide by 3 for 1/3, and we have -1 as our answer because that's the one we guessed originally. And those would be your guys' answers, the zeros. And the same thing for this one, you guys, except you gotta do it twice, and I'll get to that later. So P over Q. 1 and factors of P is 1 times 7. Factors of Q, 1 times 5. 1 and 7 divided by 1, 1 and 7. 1 and 7 over 5, 1/5, 7/5. So these are all your possible zeros. Now you guys gotta go test some, right? I tested out 7. Write down the coefficients, right? And multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add, multiply, add. So we do get 0, which means 7 is an answer. But look, remember we always go 1 degree less than that. This is x to the third, x squared, x. We still can't factor this, which means we need to find another number within this list to see if we could hit another 0, which would decrease this degree 1 less as well, to x to the second, which is something you guys could factor. See, I tried out -1. It did not work because we didn't get a remainder of 0. But I did try out 1, and it did work, right? So I tried out 1, we got a remainder of 0, and then we got this polynomial right here, which is a polynomial you guys should know how to factor. And then when you guys get to here, 1 minus 1 is 0, so we know x has to equal to 1. 1 and 7 came from the ones we guessed correctly. And then here, you guys, unless you're good with fractions, set this equals to 0 to solve for x when it's equals to 0. Add 1, divide by 5, and 1/5 is our answer. That's rational root theorem. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Continue studying for you guys to review for your guys' test. Okay, good luck everyone. Peace.